And also, I think very seldom does any tragedy occur where only one person is to blame. Usually a lot of circumstances have combined. And it's very much an idea that, in my mind, that it's not just one person, but we all contribute to things that happen for better or worse. And we are responsible for our own contribution.
In your personal life, you've had to deal with that, of course.
Yes, I have.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, when I was 13, I became quite seriously ill. When I was 15, I committed a crime as an accessory. I was involved.
What was the specific crime?
I helped someone kill another person.
Which person?
Their mother.
So there's this author. She's really famous. She's a best-selling mystery writer. She's written dozens of books, sold millions of copies. She built this quiet, respectable life in Scotland, writing about murder. And then in 1994, a movie came out, and suddenly everyone knew her secret. She wasn't just someone who wrote about murder. She had actually committed one. You're listening to Plot Twist, and today we're talking about Anne Perry, because her story is not just about the crime. It's about what happens after, about whether you can come back from something like that, whether you get to define yourself as something more. But let's start at the beginning. So Anne Perry wasn't always Anne Perry. She was born Juliet Hulme in 1938 in London, right before World War II. Juliet's childhood was pretty rough. She had survived the Blitz, but when she was young, she got really sick with tuberculosis. Her doctor literally told her mother he'd be back in the morning to sign her death certificate. That's how sick she was. But her mother didn't let that happen. Instead, when Juliet was around 8 or 9, she did something only wealthy families could do back then. She shipped her off to the Bahamas, and then to New Zealand, anywhere warm where she could recover. So Juliet spent her childhood isolated. She was sick, she was away from everyone, she had no normal teenage friendships, no school with other kids. She was just alone. By the time she was released and went back to England, she was different. She was out of touch, and the other kids could tell. Then at age 13, Juliet got sick again, and she spent 3 months in a sanatorium. Once again, she was alone. No visitors, no books even. Just complete isolation. But there was one person who kept in touch. A girl named Pauline Parker, also known as Pauline Reaper. She wrote to Juliet every single day. And when Juliet got out, Pauline was waiting. These two girls became inseparable. People who knew them said they were obsessed with each other. They had their own world, almost their own language. By the time they were 15, they had this plan. They were going to go to Hollywood, become famous. Pauline was going to be a film director, and Juliet would work in movies somehow. They talked about it constantly. It was a fantasy, sure, but it was their fantasy, and they believed in it completely. Then something happened that threatened to destroy everything. Juliet's parents were separating. The family was planning to leave New Zealand and go back to England. Pauline wanted to go with Juliet. From everything we know, Pauline's home life was miserable. She was sick all the time, throwing up 2 or 3 times a day, losing weight, depressed. She felt trapped. She begged her parents to let her go to England with Juliet's family. They said no. Now, here's where it gets complicated. Years later, when Anne Perry talked about this, she said something that stuck out. She said she believed that if she didn't help Pauline with what Pauline was asking, Pauline would kill herself. Not figuratively, literally. And here's what we don't know. What exactly did Pauline ask her to do? Perry has never been totally clear about that. She said it happened within hours. She said she didn't remember clearly because it was traumatic and she chose not to remember it. But what we do know is this. On June 22nd, 1954, Pauline Parker and Juliet Hulme went for a walk with Pauline's mother, Honora Reaper. They said they were going on a picnic, and somewhere on that trail, the girls killed Honora. The weapon was a half brick wrapped in an old stocking. The attack was quick, and it was violent. When police found Honora on that trail, they thought maybe she'd fallen and hit her head. But the girls had already started confessing. Within hours, the truth came out. 2 teenage girls, 1 dead mother. The headlines were insane. These girls were sick. They were evil. There was all kinds of speculation, a lot of it rooted in homophobia, that the relationship was sexual, that this was some twisted crime of passion. The girls insisted it was never sexual, just intense. 2 kids who needed each other in a way nobody else understood. Both girls were convicted of murder, and both were sentenced to prison. Juliet Hulme served 5.5 years in prison, and when she got out, she essentially disappeared. She changed her name to Anne Perry, she left New Zealand, she went to England, and she buried her past so completely that almost nobody knew who she was. She became religious, she moved to the Scottish Highlands, and she started writing. And here's the thing, she was really good at it. She wrote Victorian detective fiction. Her main character was a detective named William Monk, and here's what's interesting. William Monk wakes up from an accident with complete amnesia. He has no memory of who he is, so he has to figure it out by learning what other people think of him. He learns what he's done, but not why he did it. There's a lot of Anne Perry in that character. She wrote another series too, a series about a detective named Thomas Pitt. And over again in her books, she explored redemption. People who'd done terrible things, but who could change. Who should be allowed to change. And she kept writing. 1 book, then 10, then 20, then 40, 50. She was winning awards, and she was selling millions of copies. At the height of her fame, she was being compared to Agatha Christie. For 40 years, she lived this double life. The world knew Anne Perry, the best-selling author, but almost nobody knew that Anne Perry used to be Juliet Hulme, that she'd been convicted of murder, that she'd spent years in prison. It was the perfect secret, the perfect reinvention. And then 1994 happened. Peter Jackson, who you may know as the director of Lord of the Rings, made a movie called Heavenly Creatures. It was based on the 1954 Anne Perry murder case. The film was critically acclaimed. It starred Kate Winslet and Melanie Linsky as Pauline and Juliet. It dramatized their friendship, the intensity, the desperation that led to the murder. The film got lots of attention, and it went to Cannes, and it even won an Academy Award. And then journalists started digging. They started asking, who were these girls? What happened to them? And where are they now? After some searching, the journalists finally found her. They tracked down Juliet Hulme. Except she wasn't Juliet Hulme anymore. She was Anne Perry, the best-selling author. When the story broke, it was everywhere. The mystery writer wrote murders, but actually committed one. The irony was almost too perfect. It was like something from one of her own novels. Perry's agent found out. She called her boss and said, "I hope you're sitting down because there's something we didn't know about Anne." And suddenly, everything changed. Publishers didn't know what to do. Some bookstores pulled her books. Readers felt betrayed. People who'd loved her work for decades suddenly didn't know what to think. Perry went into hiding. She gave very few interviews. She didn't want to talk about it. She wanted her life as Anne Perry, the successful author, the woman who changed and grown into something good, to be completely separate from her past as Juliet Hulme. But the world wouldn't let that happen. The question arises, did Anne Perry really change? There's evidence to support, yes, she did. She paid her debt, she served her time, then she built an extraordinary life. She wrote 60 plus books. She sold over 26 million copies. She's recognized as one of the great crime writers of her era. Her books were always about redemption, about people doing terrible things but becoming better. And it wasn't theoretical for her, she lived it. But when her identity came out, people asked, does that matter? Does becoming Anne Perry erase what Juliet Hulme did? Some people say yes. She was 15 years old, she was sick, she was isolated, she was manipulated by her best friend. She served her time, she changed. Why should she be defined by that moment forever? Other people said no. She murdered someone. A real person died, and she lied about it for 40 years. She kept it hidden. She let people celebrate her work without knowing the truth. Both answers make sense. They're just different ways of thinking about second chances and redemption. Perry, well, she never fully resolved that. She lived with it. She did occasional interviews trying to explain herself. She showed up to literary events trying to reclaim her narrative, but she was always protective of it, always careful. One of her biographers said something that stuck out. When people can't allow you to be something better than a murderer, then it's a permanent sentence. Anne Perry spent the last decades of her life trying to be something better, trying to prove that you can change, that you can come back from something terrible. Whether people believed her, well, that's a different question. Anne Perry died in April of 2023 at the age of 84. Her obituaries almost always mention the murder. Even when they celebrated her literary achievements, they still led with the best-selling author who was convicted of murder as a teenager. In a way, it's fitting, because Anne Perry's story, both the crime and the redemption, is exactly the kind of complex, morally gray story she spent her career writing about. She was a 15-year-old girl who helped kill her best friend's mother. She was a woman who spent 40 years hiding that fact and building an extraordinary life. She was a writer who understood darkness because she'd lived it. And maybe the real mystery, the one that never truly got solved, is how do we reckon with people who've done terrible things, but who have genuinely changed? How much do we let them define themselves by what they did versus who they've become? Sadly, Anne Perry was never able to fully answer that question. This has been Plot Twist, produced by Bookmark Productions. Follow Plot Twist on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. As always, thanks for listening.